Hey everyone, it's Dan from dozerwinchparts.com. Today we're in the shop working on a W12D, D as in David, Hyster winch. This is the older remote pump, meaning the hydraulic pump that drives the winch is located on the dozer up by the transmission, not internally like a lot of the modern winches. Some guys prefer that. There's some upsides and downsides, which we can talk about in a later video, but today we're going to focus on the brake. I've seen two winches in this week alone. This is the brake hub, and if you look real close, see this rib right here? That's how it's supposed to have a nice point on it. As you can see these pits? Those are the frictions and separator plates that have ground down all these splines. This one is so ground, the frictions and separators get hung up on it, and they won't function properly. So this hub's no good. Same thing you'll see on the outside. I don't know. This is the outer for the clutch, or I'm sorry, for the brake. This is the outer hub. You can see. I don't know if it's going to show up in the video. See all those ribs or ridges and valleys between the splines? That's not what it's supposed to look like. Those should be smooth on top. This one's so worn down, the frictions and separators are getting hung up, and the brake is overheating. This winch is being used in a logging application to pull a very long line. They're not letting it cool down. They're just revving the thing, and they've blown it up basically. So some new components going in here. One note when you're reassembling the brake, I have seen one guy, there's a snap ring that they didn't install. Just a little snap ring is all it takes to keep this part in place. Long story short, this had slid off its shaft and was letting the frictions and separators grind. Instead of a bunch of grooves, it ground one just deep one and ruined both components. Ground a huge groove in there. So it was only a snap ring, maybe a $10 snap ring, caused a couple $1,000s in damage. So just be aware when you're putting this stuff together, it only takes one missed part or one small mistake to cause thousands in damage. Speaking of small things that can cause you a lot of damage, this again is the W12D. If you look real close, these are the two clutches, forward and reverse clutch. This part right here is your cooling ports. On the older Hyster stuff, those cooling ports, if you look, this is the inside hub, only one spline has holes in it. I don't know if you can see it, but there's holes inside this one. That's the cooling holes. This cooling port, this winch arrived at our shop. Let's see if I can videotape it. This winch arrived at our shop with the cooling ports like this. See how it goes all the way through? All the way through. Those are the cooling ports. The oil comes through. They arrive like that. That means the oil's coming in, going left to right, and nothing is going inside. Nothing is going where it needs to go. So just be aware. Again, it's a small thing. Just turning this 90 degrees when it gets installed to get the oil into the correct slot here in the splines. But it's a very small thing. It's something that is important on some of the older winches. Newer winches use a groove, so they're not going to be the same setup. You're going to have a different clutch assembly that is less critical. But in all these winches, there's always one little thing, one little detail. Like these are obviously full of crap. They're not gonna let any oil through anyway. You got to clean those out. But regardless, if you're not experienced with winches, make sure you either contact us or be extremely careful with the details, because the devil's in the details. If you're going to put one of these together, 40 hours worth of a total rebuild, you don't want one part not getting in 90 degrees the right way, or a $10 O-ring to cause $10,000 worth of parts failed. We're here to help. We don't want you to make mistakes. We want you to have success. So let us know. We'll help you as best we can.